morning, everybody, and welcome to Coffee and Football, presented by John Donovan and Longhorn Wealth Management Group. I'm your host, Blake Monroe, and I'm joined every day by Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton. Be sure to tell us where you're checking in from, what you're drinking, get your questions in. And now we're 26 days away from the start of the season, so be sure to tell us who your favorite number 26 is. And
Blake, it can't be Trey Weiser anymore because he changed to number 5.
I know. I put him on the board technically because I needed a second one this morning on the thread over on TexasFootball.com. But I did have to add that note that he changed to 5. But yeah, be sure to tell us who your favorite 26 is. And guys, the season obviously just a few weeks away, as I just said, but practice resuming today. Looks like they're going to be able to be a little more physical today. What are we expecting?
This is what the running linebackers and running backs have been waiting for.
Yeah.
It's like, and we need to talk about that with running backs because this is a big week coming up for one setter at Baxter. Because despite everything we've talked about and everybody else has talked about, tackling to the ground in full contact starts today. And that's kind of the next phase for a setter at Baxter's. One, I kind of posted on the board about that. One, how much will Texas allow that to happen with him? And then two, he's got, how is that going to go for him? Or is he going to be fine working through that? Hope to gosh there's not a setback or anything like that. But it'll be interesting to see how Texas handles that with him this week because they haven't tackled to the ground. And that's a big deal. Also a big deal for Christian Clark, by the way. And he's fine coming off his injury. But, by the way, Derek Williams this week at safety, tackling to the ground. I mean, that is his strength as a player, his physicality coming off his ACL. So there's some big things this week. And then there's a scrimmage Saturday. Obviously, that's the most important thing as far as the team, the depth chart, it starting to work itself out and such. But this week, the first half of this week, Bobby, is, linebackers, they don't love the thud. They love to – that takes away kind of their instinctive play. Tackling to the ground, I think, is a big part of that for those guys. So I'm really looking at running backs. What's Texas going to do with said Baxter this week in terms of how much physicality is he going to take on in his recovery? And then do any linebackers start to make some waves this week? Because this is when they will.
I would agree with that. So they get started at 9:00 this morning, and they're probably already busting over to the practice fields right now, actually, as we speak. And so they get started at 9:00. They go again tomorrow morning at around 9:00, 8:45. We'll have Steve Sarkisian on after media will have him after Tuesday's practice, and then we'll get some player availability after Thursday's practice. Wednesday is an off day for the Longhorns. So they'll go Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday they'll close out the week with the scrimmage that Jerry's talking about. Some players' parents and whatnot will be there on Saturday as well. So should be interesting. It's a time for not only the players, but also the parents to get to know some of the coaches, et cetera. They'll have like a little barbecue after scrimmage. Some other notes and news that I think that's interesting, Jerry. We talked about this. Who are the early risers in fall camp? And I think that you and I both agree Grayson Littleton is one of those. You've been singing his praises for about a month and a half. We had heard he had a really, really good spring camp as well. He has done nothing but continued that this offseason. He has had one. Warren Roberson, by the way, a guy that we thought might be getting passed over, had 2 interceptions at the scrimmage on Saturday, or not the scrimmage, but the work on Saturday, as well as having a nice kick return. So he's a guy that we're looking at that's coming on a little bit. But Jerry, one of the guys I wanted to talk about today was Trey Moore. Trey Moore, in my opinion right now, guys, he's close to playing so many different positions that he gives Texas such a variety. I mean, I've heard he's played defensive end. He's played played both defensive end spots at times in teamwork. So during this installation, as well as off-ball linebacker. When you do that, it's going to be hard for opposing coaches to understand and quarterbacks to understand exactly what you're trying to do on defense.
Yeah.
When you have somebody that versatile. So, and I wrote this morning over at On Texas Football that one of the keys that I didn't understand necessarily what Pete Kwiatkowski was trying to do, but I think I do better now, is he is trying to give his team such a versatile look. Other teams don't really know what he's trying to do. And more is one of the key pieces for him to be able to do that. And so that was a takeaway I had after the first 4 days of practice and installation kind of completed for this year.
Yeah, he's to me, Trey Moore is different because of how much he moves around, but he's on that same line as like a Baron Sorrell.
Yep.
Consistency. And what you get with Trey Moore is also versatility. And so when you get a very consistent player who has that type of football intellect and versatility, you have a guy that makes your defense a heck of a lot better because the opponent doesn't know where he's going to line up. But they know wherever he is, it's going to have an impact on every down basis, a drive, and a game. I think that's the type of player he is. He's very experienced. He's really cerebral, a guy that had a bunch of Ivy League offers in UTSA coming out of high school. So he's always carried that chip on his shoulder through UTSA and transferred to Texas. So he's kind of got the complete package you look for in a college football player that can really impact winning in different ways.
Good stuff. All right, guys, before we move on here, we're going to take a look at some high school highlights from a couple of players here in just a moment. But first, Bobby, I'm going to let you tell everyone about Longhorn Wealth Management Group.
Yeah, each and every Monday morning coffee and football brought to you by our friend John Donovan, president, Longhorn Wealth Management Group. John's a proud Texas Ex's Life member whose wife and 6 siblings are all UT grads as well. His family passion for UT is what led John to brand his firm Longhorn Wealth Management Group and dedicate it to providing investment, retirement, insurance, and estate planning services and solutions to Longhorn families and friends across the nation for more than 30 years. John wants to help all OTF fans get the best financial shape of their lives, physically and mentally. So he's offering all OTF fans the opportunity to take advantage of a free 90-minute private consultation to learn how working with a certified financial planner can help you maximize your wealth, minimize your taxes, and ensure your legacy. Call the Longhorn Wealth Team, 972-707-4900, or go online, www.longhornwealth.net, to schedule your free 90-minute private consultation to get your financial shape optimized for both today and the future. Hook 'em from John and the Longhorn Wealth Management Group.
Thank you, Bobby. All right, as I said,
Scott Knutson just got in here. Pads, full pads today. Tackling to the ground begins today.
There you go. And also, while we're on the subject of practice, a couple of people, I was trying to find the question, but they wanted to know any more practice windows coming up for media. Anything on that?
We're unaware of any right now. They will tell us the week of. As of right now, we do not expect it. It's been Sark's MO the last couple of years to open practice up early, and then he'll have, whether it's parents or donors, as was the case on Saturday, come in for certain practices, et cetera. But media usually gets the 2 availabilities early in camp. Then it's closed to uninvited folks. Only invited folks get to go in. But Sark will meet with the media, as will players, each and every week as we go forward.
Well, as I said at the beginning of the show, guys, 26 days away from kickoff in Columbus. And so I thought we would look at the senior film of the current number 26, Ty Anthony Smith here.
Ty Anthony Smith at Jasper. He was big in the chat and on the message boards because he flipped from A&M and Jimbo's cornbread was fired and taken at that point in time. But Ty Anthony Smith, if you remember us talking about him, I went to see him twice at Jasper. And my biggest takeaway was he had super long arms and he was super versatile, but how well he moved, his hip flexibility, his athleticism. I mean, he's a guy that played linebacker, safety, wildcat quarterback, receiver, running back. He did it all at Jasper like most school guys have to. But this is a guy that he came out of high school not even close to what he was going to be in college. As you see there, he's about 195 pounds. Well, he's added up to 215, 218, wherever he's at now, pretty quickly on his way to probably 225, 230 long-term, maybe a little more than that because of that length in his frame. But Ty Anthony Smith, the one thing the Jasper staff said about him every time I was there was they could play him anywhere because he understood the game and he had the ability to learn and process. But his quickness, Bobby, like when you go back and look at these tapes of guys' senior year, because it's really interesting to watch how well he played in space.
Yeah, I want to say this. The reason we're bringing him up is not just because he's number 26, although that gives us reason. What we're hearing is he's busy carving out a role for himself on this team. And so obviously special teams is going to be a big part of that, right? But as of right now, he is Anthony Hill's backup. And he's playing – Steve Sarkisian has said we think he's a future star. Like not the position star, but a future stud. I mean, so I think that what people need to realize is that as you look at this Texas team, you're probably going to see – and he's a name that you guys haven't been thinking a lot about. It's a name that we think y'all are going to see a little bit more this season and come to recognize a little bit more. And so we wanted to talk about him a little bit this morning because while he has all those attributes, the reality of it is that he's actually taking some steps is what we're hearing. So
is he the best space player coverage linebacker on this team? I think an argument can be made.
I don't think there's any doubt, is there?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
maybe Anthony Hill, depending on what he's learned this offseason, would be a guy.
Yeah, that's impressive. Very. How tall is Ty Anthony? 6'1" and I don't know 5'8", maybe close in on 6'2". But he's got the thing about him is he was a +7 to +8 wingspan guy. Like before I ever saw him in person, I was talking to the Jasper head coach and he asked me, he said, have you seen him? And I said, I haven't seen him in person. I've just watched him. He said he's got a 79, 80-inch wingspan. And I was like, okay, wow, I got to see it for myself. But he actually does. I mean, like he has got long arms for his height. So he's probably +7 wingspan, which that'll be big for him in a pro football type of setting for his combine and everything like that when they measure guys. But in the college game, arm length is underrated. And in general, arm length is underrated at the linebacker position. And I think that aids along with his quickness and ability to turn and run, that arm length aids in his ability to play in space and make plays on the ball in coverage.
It's going to help on special teams too, right? You get leverage that way. And Hugh Freeze, Jerry, the Auburn coach, was asked about this the other day, and he famously said, now, there are two things you look for in the SEC, girth and length.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he was talking about his linebackers being
Anthony Smith has the length.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I saw that quote because he was talking about his linebackers being so improved this year at Auburn. But yes, that was a funny quote.
Good stuff. All right. Another film that we were going to take a look at this morning, guys, as I get it queued up here, is Grayson Littleton. And I'm going to add it and let y'all take it away.
So I just want my first takeaway, guys. When you watch this, watch how many grass fields he plays on. Because that speed is underrated with Florida kids because they play on so many grass fields. And I'll just leave that there. I say it all the time. But as you watch this, there's a sport turf, but watch how many grass fields they play on. And it always kind of rains in these areas. So they don't always play on the best surfaces.
Well, I think that he plays fast, Jerry. And I wrote this one. He was the actual primary topic of my article this morning because of the things I've heard. And look, a top 100 player in the country, but nobody expected him, not me at least. I'll be honest, expected him to come in and all of a sudden maybe be ahead of Xavier Filsami, Wardell Mack. I mean, those were highly recruited guys too that he had a year up on him, right? But what he has is something that it's hard to teach. He has the ability to take what you're telling him and go do it. And I know that
immediately.
Yeah, I know that sounds like, oh, well, everybody should be able to do, but no, we've all been there and seen guys that just get it in a snap and they're already doing stuff. Like you stand in line, you're doing a drill, and all of a sudden they get the drill before you even understand what the drill is really about. Grayson Littleton is that kind of guy. Also, I want to add this. The other thing that people are talking about with him is his 0 to 60. It's not so much that he even gets up to 60. I don't know his true speed. His first 5 yards are immediate. He sees it. This is the quote that I was given. He sees, he goes. And that is something similar, and it's similar to Michael Taft is who it's similar to. Michael Taft is not a 4.3 40-yard dash guy, but he plays fast, right? Grayson Littleton may actually have some of that speed and plays fast.
Yeah.
So that's one of the. There's no question he's the surprise of fall camp among the freshmen right now. No
Different position, but and I'm not saying he's going to be this level player for 15 years. A little bit of the same things were said about Earl Thomas.
Yeah.
Because if you just watch a lot of the way the plays that are made, the other thing is film study guy. So you take from what you see in a film study and take it to the field immediately. Jahdae Barron was that way. So those are a couple of guys. Now they ended up being great players. We'll see how it turns out for Grayson Littleton. But some similarities there in just seeing the game, understanding what you're being coached to do and taking it to the next rep immediately.
Look at that.
And then film study and being able to go and take that to a field. He's got a lot of qualities about him.
You know what, Jerry? I mean, we could talk about this, but and what I summarize, you and I have ranked recruits for 25, 30 years each, and never underestimate the mental aspect of players in sport. Ever.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. So the ones that pop early have both typically. I mean, Colin Simmons had both last year, Jerry.
Yeah.
He's not just a unbelievable athletic specimen.
Yeah.
Colin Simmons is a smart football player.
You know, the other thing about Grayson, he kind of does it with a perm. He's got like a little perm. Like there's some NIL possibilities for the perm out there. I'm just going to say this.
He does have a perm.
He may be the fastest guy I've ever seen with a perm.
Eric Dickerson had one now.
That's true.
Back in the day.
That's true. Don't bring up the perm picture, Blake, or do it.
Don't do it.
Oh, we got a super chat that I wanted to get to real quick. And it's from Roy Womack. He says, there was a lot of talk about the speed on the team the last 2 years, but I haven't heard much about it this offseason. Is that a big deal or no?
So I think 1 through 85, the team is faster than a year ago. Like, that doesn't mean every position. Like, wide receiver probably isn't as fast as the last 2 years as far as a 40 time, but nobody thought Matthew Golden was going to run that time either. But I think 1 through 85, speed on, right? You just watch the Grayson Littleton. Ty Anthony Smith, look at the guys we just watched. I think 1 through 85 on the team, this is the fastest team Texas has had. And I'm going to stand by that. I think I'm going to say the defensive speed added in this last class and through the portal to go with what was already there. Even speed, when I say speed, even speed at a defensive line position. Right, more agility, athleticism that can be added in terms of depth. Right, nobody's going to be Alfred Collins and Vernon in terms of like agility, but how about the depth of those guys? What does that look like versus the depth of last year's guys? I think it's a faster football team 1 through 85.
I would agree with Jerry. Faster team overall. The problem that you have, when you start talking about speed is, are they faster at wide receiver? The answer is no, they're not. You lost Isaiah Bond and Matthew Golden. One ran 4.2, one ran 4.3 and was disappointed. Okay, so you are not as fast. The other piece of it, Jerry, is you are not as fast at running back because you lost Jaden Blue. And that is an issue, because what you could be a faster team overall, but not have your top 5 guys be as fast, and maybe you're not as explosive. And so I think that's a fair comment.
And got to go straight to this here from Zach Harvey. Thank you for the huge.
You didn't give me time. You didn't give me time.
Huge super chat. I'll try to read very slow for Jerry to get ready for this. But Zach, no, thank you. Seriously, we appreciate that. And Zach says, it's about that time, gentlemen. Hook 'em. You guys are the best in the game. I'm calling my shot. National champs.
Oh boy. Well, I want to this is a good time to preview. Thank you, first of all, Zach, for the big super chat. That's very nice of you. We appreciate you guys a lot. Jerry,
there we go.
What I wanted to say about it is this: we're doing our prediction show this coming Saturday. And so there'll be some questions there. It'll be myself, Jerry, Rod Baber, CJ, Jeff Howe. Blake, you might be the moderator of that if you don't mind. But we're going to be doing that this weekend. I'll be interested to see what everybody thinks on our staff, thinks about where Texas is going to fall. I feel like Texas late in the year will be better than they are early. Now, that's not a cop-out to lose at Ohio State, though. I want to be clear about that. That's not a cop-out for Texas to go and lose early games, that they should be competitive, hyper-competitive, and or win. But I do think that lends more to the possibility of actually being a national champ. I mean, Arch Manning with 14 games starting or 15 games starting experience, I think that's going to be helpful long term. So there we go. Does he have a corn dog and mayo under there? There you go. Jerry,
by the way, I need to apologize.
What? National champ or what, buddy?
Oh, I don't know. I'm still thinking about this, whether I'm going 10-2 or 11-1. I need to apologize to Michael Alvarado for getting him in trouble. Sorry about that. It's in the chat. You don't need to bring it up, but
go back and read.
So it's from last night's show. Apologies for getting you in trouble.
I told you.
Oh man,
I feel bad. It's a good show.
Well, we are gonna switch. I see it now. We are gonna switch gears here. We've been talking Texas all morning. Let's jump over to OU for a moment. This came out late last week, and we didn't get a chance to talk about it because obviously Texas had a lot going on with the first week of practice and you guys being there. But Chris Doering, former Florida wide receiver, now I think he's SEC Network analyst, says this about John Mateer, the Oklahoma quarterback. He said, I think this guy is going to be the SEC Player of the Year, and I also think he's going to win the Heisman Trophy.
So, in order for that to come true, Oklahoma's probably going to have to go at least 10-2 on their schedule, which means he pretty much is the reason they beat Texas, at Alabama, and either at South Carolina or LSU. I mean, that's a pretty strong statement to make for anybody. I mean, that's putting a lot on a guy on that schedule. And for all those things to happen, Oklahoma has to go at least 10-2. So I just don't see it as the problem. I just don't see that. And that means he's going to put up elite performances in the wins over Texas, at South Carolina, and either at Alabama or at home against LSU.
I think he's a good player. I think that SEC Player of the Year and Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, Chris, I don't know, bud. I think that where I come out on this is I think you can be dramatically improved at quarterback at OU and still lose 4 games. I mean, this is a team whose defense, they lose to Navy.
Yeah.
Okay. So while I think they've got a good defense, let's see how it all pans out. They've got to fundamentally change their offense. They've got to be better on the offensive line. That's what people aren't really factoring in. They should be better on the offensive line, but are they just going to be back to average? Because last year they were well below average on the offensive line, Jerry.
Yeah.
Are you going to get to average this year? If you get to average, then maybe Mateer can do all that. But I have a hard time believing that. I think that's overreach by a large amount. Good player. I mean, Jerry, you made the comparison of him to Sam Ehlinger.
The way he plays.
Yeah, it could be some truth in that. Maybe a little faster than Sam. A little faster than Sam and not quite as thick.
Now, his schedule, the OU schedule is set up for him to come out with I think, a pretty strong start. Obviously, past Illinois State, then Michigan comes to town. Then you have at Temple. Then you have Auburn at home. Then you have Kent State at home before Texas. So if Oklahoma gets a little moe, obviously they're not going to beat Michigan and Auburn without him having good days. I mean, those 2 teams, Auburn's probably going to be better than people think this year, even if Jackson Arnold is a quarterback. And he's just marginally better. They're just going to have Auburn has better talent this year than they did. And they weren't void of talent last year. But Illinois State, Michigan, at Temple, Auburn, Kent State, afford him a possibility to get off to a really fast start at the quarterback position. Then the schedule goes brutal the rest of the season. Texas at South Carolina, Ole Miss at Tennessee, at Alabama, Missouri, and LSU. So again, for him to take home the SEC Player of the Year and a Heisman Trophy, they're going to have to go 10-2 on that schedule. He's going to have big games and beat some really, really good teams, and some of those will be on the road. If he does it, he probably will win it. If they
have no reason they should lose to Michigan. None. They lose to Michigan at home. Not good.
No.
Okay. Auburn, LSU, Ole Miss, Texas, Alabama, South Carolina. I mean, they'll be underdogs against LSU, Alabama, South Carolina, and Texas at the very least. And maybe Michigan. Maybe Ole Miss, depending on how Austin Simmons looks. There you go.
If I had the little pin and I could circle a team on the schedule, the biggest game to this point in Brent Venables' tenure at Oklahoma is Auburn. He cannot lose to Jackson Arnold at home. If he does, curtains. Can't do it.
You can't lose to the quarterback you just let go.
Yep.
And bring in a new offensive coordinator and the whole thing and fire your old one. Yep. Yeah, I would agree with that. They'll get by if they lose to Michigan. They can. I think they're going to beat Michigan though. Not a buyer of Michigan right now at all. So.
All right, some more super chats this morning, fellas, that we need to get to. Joshy Manning, while we're talking about Mateer, he says SEC media is trying to build up Mateer and tear down Arch. It's wild.
Arch is, I said this dating back to his senior year in high school. He was the first high school prospect. Some might say brawny in a weird way that was kind of built up and then torn down. But I don't think Bronny was ever really torn down like that because Arch was so good so early that there's the build up and tear down effect. I've also said this about Arch. What's going to be fascinating to me, and this is my prediction on Arch, it's literally going to be like when the Golf Channel was at their prime and Tiger Woods was a little past when it was going through swing changes with Hank Haney before he started winning again, they literally broke down every golf swing, what's right and wrong about what Tiger Woods did. The build up, the tear down, the build up, the tear down, the constant. Arch is going to be scrutinized. And I can't find another college athlete because of how everything media's changed, social media's changed. He's going to be scrutinized on a snap-to-snap basis like a Tiger Woods golf swing was for a decade. That's what it's going to be like the next 2 years for Arch at Texas. It's going to be like nothing we've seen before in coverage of a college athlete, in my opinion. I think that's the level it's going to go to. It's going to be like having a golf swing, and they're going to break down every single snap he takes, the good, the bad, and what should have been done, and what he did well. That's just the way it's going to be with him. I think the family's ready.
Well, Jerry, I hope you're ready because you need to tell everyone about one of our sponsors this morning in Gooder.
Ethan Burke's Gooders. That's who I'm wearing the Gooders for. He's my guy this year. Is he going to have the Alfred Collins season and go higher in the draft than you expect? He's my guy this year based on what Sark's saying. Stylish Sonny, starting only $25 a pair. That's why you want Gooder. They're 1 year free warranty. I have to read it, 30-day free returns. You know I don't need mine, see? Lightweight and comfortable, 100% polarized, no slip, no bounce. From vibrant colors to sleek styles, there's a pair of Gooder for every personality in the world. Designed for both everyday wear and active individuals that love to run, hike, bike, and much, much more. So that leads to when you wear your Gooder Sunnies on a run, on a bike ride, which I did this weekend, on a hike, going to the beach, driving in your car in the Texas heat, playing pickleball, playing tennis, you name it, watching On Texas Football, coffee and football, because they're so affordable, you don't have to worry about losing or breaking them. You can have a pair for every single occasion. If you need a new pair of Sunnies, Gooder is giving On Texas Football listeners free shipping. Who doesn't want that? You can go to gooder.com/OnTexas and use the code OnTexas, all caps, for free shipping. I got to read it, 30-day money-back guarantee, and 1,000% satisfaction, which I guarantee. Again, that's gooder.com/OnTexas, all caps, for free shipping.
And then once you get those nice, stylish Sunnies, you also should go pick you up a pair of boots or at least some kind of shoes made by Tecovas, right, Bobby?
Yeah, I wore these over the weekend, actually, on a date. Anywhere worth going is worth going in good boots. Born in Texas in 2015, Tecovas are handcrafted with every stitch on point. Tecovas boots are made for a good time and a long time. I love the fact that they're already broken in for comfort right out of the box. And Tecovas makes it easy for anyone to find their favorite boot. With all kinds of sizes and styles, Tecovas are simply the best boot around. I really like that they can either be daily boots or you can feel dressed up with them, like that date with my wife. Right now, get 10% off at tecovas.com/Texas football. Now, you have to use the /Texas football when you sign up for email and text. That's 10% off at tecovas.com/Texas football. With Tecovas Best in the West guarantee, you get free returns and exchanges for 30 days. Tecovas.com/Texas football. See site for details. Tecovas, point your toes west.
Well, we have a lot more to talk about this morning. Some super chats, some more hot topics as well. So let's start with a couple more super chats. This one from Drew Lockhart. Thank you, Drew. He said, Oregon had a good week. What's your take on Kendry Harrison? Rivals had him ranked as the number 2 tight end. Thanks, OTF.
He's going to translate. You can, if you haven't followed him in basketball, he is maybe as good a high school rebounder as there is in the country, playing at the highest AAU level. He has got really good feet, physicality. He adjusts to the ball in the air. You see it when he's rebounding a basketball, plays through contact, creates contact. You can almost see why it's going to translate for him on a basketball court as much as a football field. I think he's got a chance to be a really, really good player. And he's a legit D1 basketball player, like legit. A guy that's in high school, I think he averaged 15, 17 rebounds a game, something like that. But he is a legitimate player. And if he does it right, he'll be a draft pick.
They got Devon Benjamin, too, over the weekend. Obviously, the defensive back that Texas was pursuing out of Southern California. Benjamin chose Oregon over Texas and Michigan.
A super chat here from Rob. Thanks, Rob. We appreciate you. He says, over under on team sacks this year. Will the Texas season record for individual at 22.5 ever be touched?
I may make Colin Simmons mad, but I don't think 22.5 will ever be touched in a
That's
season.
tough.
Sacks this season. Let's see, the 12-game regular season, I'll go with 35. If they play 16 games, I think it's going to be 48, 49, more than last year. Not a lot more than last year. A couple more than last year. Was it 46?
Man,
46.
if they can stop the run, I think they can get to high 40s. Like if they can stop the run as well as they did last year, Jerry, and can get on the scoreboard early, I think it's going to be high 40s. We had Kiki de Ayala on the show last week. He's the one that has the 22.5 game sack or 22.5 season sack record. I think that I don't think the 22.5 will be beaten. To Jerry's point, I mean, coaches won't let that happen. Opposing coaches are better about that. But I will add this. If there is going to be one, it might be Colin Simmons, because I'm not sure that I've seen a better natural pass rusher at Texas than Colin Simmons in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Just natural. And I know that's saying a lot. You've got Brian Arakpo out there who's phenomenal. Brian Robeson did that for a decade in the NFL. But a more natural, that's what he, like, it's almost like that's what he was born to do. I don't know how else to say it.
I agree. 100%.
We have a super chat from Carlos this morning. Thank you, Carlos Sanchez. And he says, on Grayson Littleton, how much is Akina in on that choice?
None. Grayson Littleton had visited Texas in spring of junior year with a 7-on-7 team. And Texas liked him, but he committed to Clemson. But then I think when Texas Terry Joseph got word that he was going to open it up and decommit from Clemson, Texas offered him that next day. Now, everybody thought at the time he was going to Michigan. He made the OV to Michigan, then made the OV to Texas, and ended it and went to Texas. But that really wasn't an Akina part of that. That was Grayson Littleton had visited Texas in the spring of junior year, and like Texas didn't even offer him till November of senior year. And everybody glad they did now.
I wonder, Jerry, if he means on this choice of actually once he's been on campus.
Playing nickel.
Yeah. Kenoto Hudson is the Nichols coach, though.
Who is from Tampa and recruits.
Yeah. And so I feel like, look, Akina is definitely involved in the entire secondary, but all three coaches are involved.
Yeah.
So as well as PK and Johnny Nansen even.
Well, somebody brought up, and it's great when Patrick Page, I should have mentioned it, Mark Orfe was one of his early offers at Rutgers. So Orfe saw it early.
Yeah. All fair. Hey, real quick, we were just talking about great pass rushers at the University of Texas. And I need to give a hat tip here really quick to someone, because Doug Haywood is right. Tony Brackens was a natural pass rusher.
Yes.
I mean, like Brian Arakpo, great pass rusher. I'm not trying to, but Brackens was made to rush the passer. Arakpo was a little more versatile, if that makes sense. But Brackens, wow. Did he have a couple of girls?
Basketball players. They play in college. The chat will know where. Golly,
they were at Fairfield, which is
they were at Fairfield. They went to state. They're playing college. At least one of them's playing college now, and I think the other one just graduated. They're playing D1 somewhere. Let me see if I can find it.
We should try to get Tony on.
We should.
So people don't remember, he broke his back as a 3-year-old. Got run over by a tractor.
It's probably the same tractor he works on today.
Yeah.
His daughter McKenna Brackens is now at UNLV. She was really good at Fairfield when they went to state. So he has at least one playing major college basketball or D1 basketball.
Yeah, but no, he was a tremendous. When you talk about pass rushers at Texas, you should add Tony Brackens to your list. So Doug Haywood, I completely agree.
Then we have a super chat from David Edwards. He says, and thank you, David, who is underperforming that's returning in the SEC this year?
Player or team? Underperforming. That's a very interesting question.
Or does he mean who's a star?
Well, yeah. So underperforming. Does the quarterback at Arkansas have enough around them this year? They lost all their wideouts. Year 2 of a system with Bobby Petrino, but they lost a lot of they lost all his go-to guys. Josh Calzada, Kentucky have enough around,
yeah.
Does he have enough around him after transferring in from Incarnate Word?
I mean, can they protect Nussmeier at LSU?
Yeah, he's got the weapons.
He's got the weapon. I'm just telling you now.
Yeah.
He I don't want to say he wilted under pressure, but teams that were able to pressure him were not that, I don't want to say scared of him, but were not affected by him that much. And they lost Will Campbell, Jerry.
Yeah, they lost 4 starters like Texas, Ohio State.
And so if they can protect him, I don't have a problem. But if they can't, I think Nussmeier might be one of those.
Travis Acton, that's a good one. He returned to the practice field Saturday, but man, shoulder, calf, a lot going on over there in Gainesville for a guy that plays a physical brand of football.
Yeah.
The guy who's set up, there's 2 guys who are set up to underperform. Let's be real. John Mateer and Arch Manning. Those are the 2 guys that are set up to underperform.
What do you mean by that?
Well, people are picking John Mateer to win the Heisman. People are saying Arch is going to be the number 1 pick of the draft. The expectations are unrealistic for either one, considering Arch is his first year starting, which he's going to be 2 years at Texas before he goes pro. And then John Mateer's first year in a huge step up in competition. I mean, those are the guys who are set up to be torn down. But, I've built up Lenore Sellers, and my thing with him is I wonder if South Carolina has enough around him.
Yeah, once he becomes the focal point and not Rocket Sanders at the running back position, what happens to Lenore Sellers as a focal point?
Yeah. I think he's going to make a big jump as a passer in year 2. I know his QB coach from back in my national days, and I've kind of read some things he said. Tennessee quarterback, whoever that guy is.
But he's not. Their expectations of their quarterback is very low.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's not set up for failure, but if Marcel Reed doesn't take a big step for A&M, he's going to catch all the blame by the A&M fan base for sure. Because they feel like they have the pieces around him.
And going to Colin Simmons for a moment, due to the super chat from Jeff Carey. Thank you, Jeff. He says Colin Simmons' first step is insane. Looks like he's jumping the gun.
I agree. I mean, Rod did a thing where he cut up some clips last year of Rod Babers, cut up some clips of Colin and talking about his first step. And literally there were like 5 plays in a row where Colin was a half yard at the snap past where he was supposed to be, where a human. Now, will he get caught with some offsides this year? Because teams have now seen that and planned for it to just try to slow him down. Maybe. But no, it is, Jeff. That's what I was saying is I don't think I've ever seen somebody like him in a Texas uniform. I don't know how else to put that. Now, it doesn't mean that there weren't as good or better players in the past. But I've never seen anybody like Colin in a Texas uniform. Just so fast. Do y'all remember Terrell Suggs?
Oh, yeah.
That's who Colin reminds me of a little bit. So fast. I mean, just insanely fast off the edge.
Well, you mentioned Rod, and Gus Fleener has a question due to Rod. He said, I watched Sunday School with Rod Babers yesterday and started wondering. Sark famously scripts his first 20-ish plays of the game. But has he or would he ever, or what circumstances do you think he should scrap the script?
Oh, I think he scraps it if he's down 21-0.
Yeah.
That he's done that before, and he said that actually publicly. But it's not a hard and fast group, and he'll fast forward his script. He talked about that at the Oklahoma State Big 12 championship game, where his script isn't necessarily 20 plays in a row. We're going to run these 20 plays in a row. It's 20 plays that he wants to get to, depending on down and distance. Like the 3rd and 2 or 2nd and 2, I can't remember what it was. The toss back to Quinn Ewers where Jatavian Sanders was wide open. That was a scripted play, but not scripted in order. It was going to be the first low down and distance. So that's something interesting.
Then we have a question this morning from Sarah McCoy. And Sarah says, what are the realistic expectations for Arch Manning in 2025? 10 or so wins and a good showing in the SEC, an SEC title, and a strong showing in the college football playoff, a national title. What do you guys think?
10 wins in a college football playoff. I mean, I always start there. If you get there, you roll the dice and see what happens. A lot of that becomes, the 10-2s versus 11-1s versus the teams that play in the conference championship game, where you fall in the rankings, the top 12 rankings. But for me, year one as a starting quarterback, you go 10-2 and make the college football playoff, you've had a really good season, because Texas isn't making the playoff at 10-2 if he doesn't have a really good season.
My take on it, Sarah, is a little different. And I'll say this: I think all of those are realistic expectations. Like, I don't think 9-win season is out of a realistic expectation. I also don't think 14 or 15 wins is out of a realistic expectation. I think that's the birth that we're looking at right now. So what is most likely, I think, is what Jerry said. But the realistic expectations, 9 to 14 or 15 wins. Any of those are realistic, in my opinion. It's going to be late turnover, how the ball bounces weird, big plays in a return game, things like that are going to determine the teams. But I think Arch will play really well. Hopefully, he has a 4 to 5 to 1 TD to interception ratio. If that happens, it's going to be team's going to have.
If that happens as much as he throws the ball down the field, Texas had a great season.
That's what I'm saying.
Because he's going to force some balls deep and in bad situations early.
Yeah. What was Quinn last year? 2.5 to 1, and we were always pushing him to have 4 to 1. Is that right?
Let me look.
It's like 32 and 12 or something like that.
Let's say he was.
Let's see. In 2023, he had 22 to 6 touchdown interceptions. In 24, he was 31 to 12.
Yeah.
Overall.
Yeah.
So about 2.5 to 1.
Yeah, 2.58 to 1.
Yeah. That if you can get Arch to 4 to 5, that's what you want. You want something like 30 and 5, 30 and 6, 30 and 7.
By the way, somebody brought this up. Somebody in the chat said, "What if he has a Sam Levitt season?" That's kind of what I was getting at, because Sam Levitt last year,
his last throw of the year was a pick, by the way.
Sam Levitt last year was 24 and 6 TDs, INTs, and he had 443 rushing yards.
That's 4 to 1.
Yeah,
TD interception. TD interception ratio is one of the better gauges of quarterback efficiency that you'll see. Just so everybody, that's one that really matters. So keep that in mind as we go forward with Arch.
If Arch if either season he gets the 4 to 1, as much as he's going to throw the ball down the field, I think Texas probably plays for a title.
I would say this: I think he's going to score more touchdowns throwing in the red zone than Quinn too.
Yeah.
It's not so much the deep ball. So Jerry's point is the deep ball, he's going to rely on it. But I suspect that he will be more effective in the red zone than Quinn because of the speed of the ball, quickness of the decision-making, athleticism being letting him get out and run a little bit to create some openness, that sort of thing.
By the way, bigger receivers.
Oh, yeah, and bigger receivers in the red zone, too. It's true.
Yep.
All right, Bobby, will you let everyone know about Vaughn Lane?
Yeah, absolutely. I can do that, Blake. Thank you so much. Vaughn Lane is a big sponsor of On Texas Football, and we appreciate them very much. We got some news coming about Vaughn Lane and a tour that we're going to be doing using Vaughn Lane as our travel partner. We'll talk to you guys a little bit about that tomorrow. But if you've got to get to one city from another and in the state of Texas, like always, it's a toss-up. Do you deal with the airport chaos and hope your flight isn't delayed, or do you brace yourself for hours behind the wheel, battling traffic and burning a day? Now there's a third option, and it's better in every way. You arrive at a luxury hotel terminal, no TSA lines, no long-term parking lots, just a seamless boarding experience. While you're on your trip, you can either unplug or you can power through. The Vaughn Lane team is monitoring traffic in real time for you, using smarter routes and efficient detours to help keep your trip smooth and on schedule. And now is the perfect time to book your travel. Vaughn Lane serves Austin, Dallas, Houston, Fort Worth, San Antonio, Plano, the Woodlands, and in the Southeast, Atlanta, Nashville, Memphis, and now Knoxville too. Visit vaughnlane.com. Use code OTF25 to save $20 on your first ride. That's OTF25. Vaughn Lane, elevated regional bus transportation. Make sure you use them for fall football Saturdays and everything else you need to do between major cities in and around the state of Texas and the Southeast.
We got another super chat this morning, and this one, we got a couple of them, it looks like, that have come in. This one from Rocky P. Thank you, Rocky. Rocky says, we talk about a lot of the big names and big question marks, but what about the players like LaFau and Manny Muhammad? What do we need to see from them for their next step? He says that he thinks LaFau could be the defensive MVP. Thanks, OTF and Hook'em.
I see LaFau's more steady Eddie, Barron Sorrell of the linebackers, just playing really well, consistent football. Defensive MVP, with Anthony Hill, Colin Simmons, I don't see that in the secondary.
Backbone of the defense instead of MVP, I could see. Does that make sense? Like, I think he's more the backbone. It could be a backbone, not necessarily the MVP. Just my
Manny Muhammad. How many interceptions has he had in his career? He has had one. None last year, 1 in 23. The next step for him is create more turnovers. If he gets the 3 to 4 picks, creates more turnovers this year, then his 40 time is going to probably determine if he's a first or second round pick in the draft. If he can create more turnovers, he takes a big step.
I agree with that.
That was the thing when he came in, that first spring practice, every week he caused a fumble, had a fumble recovery, had an interception, and he got off to such a fast start. I think I was probably expecting more turnovers created, but he needs to turn the ball over this year. That's the big step for him, in my opinion.
Our next super chat comes from Rudy. Rudy says, why do you all think OU fans are acting like they're not nervous about this season? Venable's future is on Mateer's shoulders.
I think it's because they have nothing to lose. They're in a win-win situation. They're either, and I mean this, Mateer is going to either pull a Dylan Gabriel for them and get them to be a really good team, or they're going to get a new coach. Is there an in-between for if you're an OU fan, this is a resolution year. I'm either going to know my coach is going to be around and my quarterback's going to be good, or I'm going to get a new coach. So Either way, I would there's been some situations like that with with Texas coaches in years past. We're going to get a resolution year for OU.
I was going there. It's the year that a lot of fans won't say on a chat or publicly, but they're like, well, if we lose and the coach, you never want to lose, but if it causes the coach to get fired, maybe I can stomach it for a few games. I mean, I think that's really where it's at. And you don't talk about it publicly. You want to win the games. Oh, but if it goes bad, that's okay in a weird way too, because sometimes you have to sacrifice short-term for long-term gain.
Then we have a question from Austin Harris. He says, how many first-round picks are we producing this year?
2 or 3.
See, I'm just one. At this point, I'm just one, Jerry. That's Anthony Hill.
I think DeAndre Moore can definitely be one. Then you get to, what if Trevor Goosby has a really good season?
Yeah, they're
with as much talent as there is on the Texas team, I have a hard time believing the number ends up being 1 by next April. But we'll see, right?
I think, okay, the over-under is 1.5.
I'll take the over.
Okay. And being the not pessimist, but the conservative that I can be on these sorts of questions, I would take the under.
Hey, speaking of Goosby, Bruce Feldman came out with his top 100 freaks list this morning. Goosby, the lone Longhorn on that list, fellas. He comes in at number 17. I'm not going to read you the whole thing, but of course you can go over there and find it on Bruce Feldman's Twitter. But the only Texas player on the list this year. Yeah,
look, I mean, if he goes out and has a really good year, he's going to probably be a first-round pick. I mean, that's just where Goosby's at, because he is athletic, basketball background, was a late developer physically. Maybe the second. Sorry, Trev, but Austin may even be the better of the future draft picks in the family. But Trevor with a really good season at left tackle for Texas, the blind side of one Arch Manning, playing in the SEC against the talent he's going to play against, and Ohio State. If he has a really good season, he'll be a first rounder.
I like Trevor a lot. If no offense to all of those to Bruce Feldman, but if Colin Simmons and Anthony Hill aren't on that list, I don't know what a freak is. So I'll just put that.
Now the interesting thing with a Goosby is, I think Goosby's arm length, I don't know the exact on that, but if it's not 83, I'd be surprised.
Oh gosh.
Is this Trevor?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was included with the story. Was that video of Trevor?
Yeah. So look, basketball player that grew into being a football player. Now he needs to continue to add strength to his frame.
In the lower body.
That's where it's going to be interesting, because the family is they're not looking for the instant returns with their kids. They're looking for their kids to be ready. So he could be a 2-year player for Texas, but if he has a great season, then he's going to have a decision to make. That's really what this is going to come down to.
Any freaks list that does not include Anthony Hill and Colin Simmons. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I vehemently disagree.
I hope, by the way, in that video, I hope he wasn't playing against those little kids. That would be very Go back to the video. Hold on. I'm going to have to make a call. Trevor, please tell me you weren't playing against those kids. Come on.
Pickup ball in Gregory.
I'm sending this video in a text after the show. I need an answer. This looks like pickup ball against.
It looks like he's going in the 6 foot and under league too. He's up against the people in the 6 foot and under league.
That looked just mean.
Jonah Williams, enthusiast, with the super chat this morning. Thank you. We appreciate it. He says, Jerry, can you talk about the difference in development in a guy like Brandon Baker coming out of high school and a kid coming from a small public school?
Yeah, it's actually a good question. And that's why I think the move to go along with that, that's why I think the move of Nick Brooks to Grayson was invaluable for him last year. Nothing against the coaching staff where he's at in Iowa, but he wasn't facing D1 players. He faced D1 players every single day in practice at Grayson. So now back to what you said, same thing with the guys at Duncanville, whether it's the offensive lineman versus Colin Simmons or Colin Simmons versus the offensive lineman. But at Mater Dei, the other thing is he played right tackle. Now, and he lined up at right tackle against guys who signed with Oregon or USC or UCLA or schools similar every single day in practice. Practice became as important as anything for him. And then he also got great strength and conditioning training at Mater Dei. They have a real program. It's kind of like IMG West in a weird way. But look, I think it really helped prepare him from a pass pro standpoint because he's accustomed to seeing Power 4 athletes with the athleticism to win with speed and leverage.
All right, let's see here. More questions this morning. This one from Dave. Actually, I already got
a text on the Goosby. That's hilarious.
He says Muhammad was a weak link.
Watch the show.
Muhammad was the weak link in the Texas backfield last season. What have you seen that changes that, and who is running second team behind him?
Well, I want to say this. Warren Roberson had a terrific practice on Saturday. Warren Roberson may be one of those guys that just ain't going to let life pass him by. No matter how good a Kobe Black is or a young Cade Phillips, Warren Roberson may just be, or Jalen Gilbo even at corner, moving to corner. He's one of those guys that just may be that type. So I would say who's backing him up right now is Warren Roberson. Let's see. And Warren Roberson's a scrappy dude. Scrappy dude. So I'm hopeful that bears some fruit for him this season. He'll be a special teams stalwart, by the way.
All right, our next question this morning is going to come from... We've had a few questions about CJ Baxter, so let's jump over to that if I can get it to pop up here. And Jay Kelly says, when will the brace come off for Baxter, or will it? And then another question that we had from McBride 409, is it just me, or is CJ Baxter healthy could be the final nail in the coffin for everyone in the race to the playoffs?
That's the question that really only the Texas training staff and the doctors can answer right now.
And they may not be able to.
Yeah, I mean, look, it will probably be a little while. Because the last thing you want to have happen is take the brace off and somebody rolls into your knee immediately. Now, the brace is restrictive in the bend backwards once you've had a PCL a little bit, I believe. We're going to hopefully have somebody on to talk about this. So it does kind of adjust your gait a tad bit. So the thing that I think has to be proven out with a running backs coming off a severe injury like this is, like, one of the things that's not talked about enough is how important it is to pick up your feet, pick them up and put them down super quick in traffic. And so it's the taking the hits part for CB4, and then it's do you return to picking up the feet and putting them down really quickly? Because if that pickup put down is a little off, it changes how your runs are going to end. So he's going through a process. But if he gets back anywhere close to 95%, what he brings to the team, the pass pro, the football intelligence, the leadership. Look, it wouldn't shock. I said on the show last week, whether he plays or not against Ohio State, would it shock you, Bobby, if he was walked out to be a captain for that game? I think I'd be surprised if he didn't, honestly.
I think that, yes, I agree with you. I think he's going to be when Sark came to the mic on the first day after practice, he specifically said, not Arch Manning, not DeAndre Moore, not Cole Hudson or DJ Campbell. He said Cedric Baxter's the one that spoke to the team prior to the first day of practice on offense. Now, that's not to diminish the other guys and their role as leaders too. But you're talking about a guy that did not play a snap last year, that has been rehabbing from a sometime career-ending injury. I think he's going to be a captain at Ohio State. If he's not, I'd be surprised. The one thing I would tell you about Cedric too is it's hard to bet against a guy overcoming obstacles when you have that sort of. It's like Tony Hills. Tony Hills wasn't going to be taking no for an answer. He had at one point what was thought to be a career-ending injury. So don't bet against those guys. That being said, I think he'll have the brace on for almost most of the year. I don't see that coming off. I don't know.
And so as
when
a
it
runner,
does, he better be ready.
If it stays on as a runner, you can't be the same player you were. It's like not possible. So how close, if he wears the brace, the if game we're playing, if he wears the brace for the majority or all of the season, how close to that can he be? Because I do think there needs to be protection with him in that regard. Coach Amps, this is a great point, man. Does CB4 know what he'll be until he plays? No. Yeah, I don't think you do until you get hit on the side of that knee the first time, even with a brace on. You get hit square on that knee again with a brace on. Your knee gets bent back in a pile and you pop back up. I think all those things are – once you get – I still just think it's such a major hurdle mentally. Once you get back to being able to work out stage, then it's the hits on the knee. Then it's how does it react after days and days of use. All those things from a mental perspective and a physical perspective. But the last part's the mental. I don't think there's any doubt about that if you just talk to guys who have done it. I never have, but if you talk to people who have. Especially in football where that as a running back, that knee is going to be contacted almost on every play.
Bobby, can you tell us about Longhorn Wealth Management Group one last time?
I sure can. John Donovan, President, Longhorn Wealth Management. As a proud UT alum, John served for 15 years as a Dallas, Texas Ex's chapter board member. He's now helping lead the build-out of the Collin County, Texas Ex's chapter. John's excited to announce that Bobby and Jerry will be guest speakers via Zoom at our Collin County chapter football preview kickoff event scheduled for Saturday afternoon, August 16th. At Dirty Birds in Plano. If you live in Collin County and want to attend, just shoot John an email and he will get you all the details. John's excited about the Longhorns this season, the recognition all the players are getting, whether it's a watch list and Nagurski, Thorpe, or Butkus. They are all receiving. John thinks is so well-deserved. He wants to help Texas fans get what they deserve as well in the financial services area. Give him a shout. Free 90-minute private consultation to learn how working with a certified financial planner can help you maximize your wealth, minimize your taxes, and ensure your legacy. Don't miss the opportunity to take advantage of that free 90-minute consultation. Give John a shout at Longhorn Wealth at 972-707-4900 or go online, longhornwealth.net. That's www.longhornwealth.net to schedule your meeting with John and his team today. Hook them from John and the Longhorn Wealth Management Group.
Thank you, Bobby. We got time for just another question or two before we get out of here. And King Me says, over under special teams wins us 4 games.
Woo! That's a lot.
Yeah, that is.
Well, that means, and you're talking probably all your close games. That means you're factoring in the games where it really matters. Like special teams, if it has to win you games 2, 3, and 4, it's not going well.
If it has to win you games 2, 3, and 4, it is decidedly not going well, Jerry.
Not going well. If Boom Easter is the MVP of the San Jose State game, that's not good. Even Kentucky and Mississippi State. I mean, Kentucky's still a tough place to play for a highly ranked team because you mostly can't get up for Florida, Oklahoma, and then Kentucky every week. It's just not humanly possible. But their talent level's down. Mississippi State, it better not come down to that. Arkansas, it better not come down to that. So really, you're talking about Ohio State, Florida, Oklahoma, Georgia, A&M.
I would say this, it's going to decide some games, but maybe not necessarily in the way you think. How well you punt this year. One of the big takeaways for me, and I mentioned this really right out of the gate after the first practice, Jack Bouwmeester is a different punter than Texas has had in last year. He is a weapon. He will flip the field. So I think that's something that we gotta be aware of. So how can he help win games? He can be a factor in every game, but I don't know that he'll be a deciding factor. That would be very rare. The thing that caught my attention is what Jeff Banks talked about in the preseason in his meeting last Tuesday with the media. He said they're going to be more aggressive punt block team. And Jerry and I immediately said, okay, either that means they don't like their returner or they're going to just approach things differently. So we'll see what that looks like. We'll see what that looks like. I don't think special teams will be that. Hopefully Mason Shipley's better than Bert Auburn, or at least puts numbers up that are improved upon year over year. That'll be key in and of itself.
So I could have looked at that question. If 4 games out of, let's say, 16 possible. I was just thinking about regular season, by the way. 4 games out of 16 possible. Regular season, I don't think that'll be the deciding factor in 4 games. But I agree, 100% agree on punter. But I was just looking at the Texas schedule. I mean, realistically, last year you had SEC championship game. You had almost the Arizona State loss. Those were the 2 that really stood out. Like the A&M game wasn't decided by Texas. That wasn't a special team.
It almost got decided the wrong way with a block punt.
Right. So special teams as a whole, I mean, yeah, the fake punt Georgia pulled off too, by the way, was another big play. But yeah, I mean, if you go into a longer season, 4 is certainly possible.
And our last question of the day, Hioli Frioli 93 says, what yardage combo is most likely? 2,000-yard receivers, 2,000-yard running backs, or one of each, 1,000-yard wide receiver and 1,000-yard running back?
One of each.
Yeah, because of injuries.
Yeah, one of each is clearly the more likely, or the most likely of that group. I don't see 2,000-yard running backs in this group. I just don't. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I see this as a heavy pass offense this year.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of Coffee and Football, presented by John Donovan and Longhorn Wealth Management Group. Want to thank John. Also want to give a big shout out again to Zach Harvey for the very generous super chat earlier in the show. We appreciate you, Zach, with him calling his shot, saying Texas is going to win it all, guys. That was awesome. And then we need to thank Tecovas, Gooder, and Von Lane for sponsoring as well. Bobby, what do you have later today?
Well, first of all, I want to say this. Happy 22nd birthday to my daughter, Abby Burton. She is living up. She graduated college this past year, is living up in D.C. now. I wish I was there with you today, sweetheart. That's something that is special for me. So happy birthday to her. I also want to tell folks that we've got a couple different things coming up. Jeff and CJ are going to be at the are going to be having a show around noon today. Longhorn Weekly, talking about what they've got going on and what they've heard behind the scenes. CJ had a great practice report yesterday. If you didn't get a chance to read that, he'll divulge some more information there. Then we have the winning drive with Coach Bob Shipley and Rod Babers at around 3:15. And then tonight, Jerry and I come back and answer all your questions and maybe have a little bit more of what we've heard from practice today. We're going to talk, it'll be called Talking Ball at around 7 o'clock tonight. Also, please, a lot of people ask us how they can help support the show. Obviously, y'all's presence is key to all of it. But if you want to get even more information and be inside the On Texas Football community, make sure you join us at ontexasfootball.com. You can get a special right now with $20 off the annual subscription using the promo code OTFOG. That's OTFOG at ontexasfootball.com. More than 100 people over the last 3 days have joined, and we appreciate you guys so much. Jerry wrote a nice point to you guys yesterday that have joined. So please come join us. Football season is here on texasfootball.com. Thank y'all so much for everything you've allowed us to do here at On Texas Football, following the Longhorn football team.
We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. Hope you all have an outstanding day. So for Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton, I'm Blake Monroe, and we'll see